All right, let's talk about something that so many of us feel, but, we just don't really mention it. It's that strange, nagging guilt that pops up the moment you actually try to do nothing.
I mean, you know that feeling, right? You finally earn some downtime. Your schedule's clear, you sit down, and instead of feeling peaceful, this wave of anxiety just washes over you. It's this feeling like you're doing something wrong just by sitting still.
And almost instantly, your mind just starts racing. It kicks into this high gear, and suddenly there's this intense sense of urgency. A little voice telling you that you should be productive. You should be doing something. That to-do list, that project you've been putting off, even that little squeaky door hinge, your brain just starts yelling at you that you should be fixing something, improving your space.
Or hey, maybe it's even bigger than that. It's not just chores, it's you should be learning a new skill or reading that important book or just bettering yourself. This constant pressure to become something more than you are right at this very second.
So what ends up happening? Well, even in your so-called free time, you're not really free at all. Your mind becomes this prison of shoulds. And to cope, what do? We reach for our phones, we start scrolling, we look for any little distraction to just escape that uncomfortable feeling. But it's always there, isn't it? Just kind of simmering right under the surface.
And this is the real issue, the core of it. Because somewhere along the way, we learn this really tough lesson that rest is something you have to earn. So if you haven't checked off enough boxes, if you feel like you haven't done enough, then taking a break just feels like you're cheating. It feels completely undeserved.
This isn't just some random feeling you have. It actually has a name. It's called the productivity trap, and it's this really powerful belief that we just absorb from our culture, from our jobs, maybe even from how we were raised. It's the idea that our worth as a person is tied directly to our output, to what we produce, how useful we are, how much we can get done.
And this creates this huge, deep conflict inside of us, right? On one hand, you've got your mind, which has been trained to measure your value based on your output. But then on the other hand, there's your actual, real human experience. You're exhausted, you're burnt out, and your body is practically screaming for a break.
So what happens when you actually listen to your body and you stop producing? Well, your mind, the part of you that thinks doing equals being valuable, it basically panics. That guilt, that anxiety that you feel, yeah, that's its alarm system blaring, telling you that you're somehow losing value just by being still.
Now, this leads a lot of us to think, okay, I must just be a workaholic, or I'm just addicted to being busy. And look, it seems like a pretty logical conclusion to draw. But what if that's not actually the real story here?
No. The deeper truth is, you're probably not addicted to being busy. What you're really afraid of is what you feel when you're not. See, the busyness isn't the point. It's a defense mechanism. Because here's the absolute heart of it. When you finally get quiet, when all the noise of doing finally fades away, that silence, it brings awareness. And let's be honest, that awareness can be incredibly uncomfortable. It forces you to face the feelings, the questions, the truths about your life that you've been doing a pretty good job of drowning out with all your tasks and to-do lists. So, staying busy, it becomes this really clever strategy. Not to get ahead, but to get away. So you see, we tell ourselves a story. We say the goal of all this frantic activity is success, it's achievement, it's progress. But so often, the real unconscious goal is just escape. Escape from boredom, from loneliness, from tough emotions. Escape from having to ask ourselves the really hard questions.
And thinking about it this way, well, it changes everything, doesn't it? If being busy is actually a form of escape, then trying to just force yourself to white-knuckle your way into relaxing, it's probably going to fail. You're fighting against this really deep-seated defense system. So maybe the goal isn't just to force yourself to relax at all.
What if, instead of fighting that feeling, you just got curious about it? What if the very first step, the most important one, is to just gently ask yourself, why does being still feel so unsafe to me? What am I actually running from? Approaching this with some understanding instead of force, that's the real key.
And that is the whole point. The journey here isn't about getting better at doing nothing. It's about healing the part of you that truly believes your self-worth is tied to your productivity. Because when you can finally do that, rest completely transforms. It stops feeling like guilt, and it starts feeling like what it was always supposed to be: freedom.